Okay, folks, it's Dave at Vinyl Nirvana again, and we're on the final part of replacing your 3-switch front fascia plate with the 2-switch fascia plate. And we've got the turntable supported here, and I've got my straight screwdriver. One point that I'll make is this is going to completely disintegrate anywhere that you touch it. And so I'm going to try not to touch that actually because this is my photography area and I don't want it to get all over the place. But basically, these 3 screws hold the front fascia plate in place. And so we're going to be releasing those. And then we'll be able to release the rest of the cueing mechanism that we talked about in the second one. Again, not an easy screw to replace, so take good care of it. Probably want to have a small box or something handy to keep all of this stuff in. We're getting close, folks. Okay, so 2 things I'm not going to show this time are, okay, let's just lift this off first. 2 things I'm not going to show right now is obviously this isn't getting taken off very much, so you're going to want to clean this lens. I mean, obviously you're going to have it off, once in a blue moon, so clean this and make it nice and shiny. And then you want to test your mirror. I usually give it a good flick with the fingernail, and if it's ready to fall off, it's going to fall off, and if not, it's not. And then I clean that with, window cleaner on a toothpick, and then I usually follow it up with a Q-tip. And then I usually follow it up with a microfiber to get that surface to be nice and clean. And obviously I clean all this other stuff in here too when I do a restoration. I don't want to spend too much time on that because you want to see me install this. So we're going to remove this 3rd switch, this switch that would have been vestigial. And there's 2 screws on the top here that do that. You're not reusing these, so you don't have to be quite as careful as all the other pieces I talked about. And now we should be able to get this switch out. Did I mess up? Yeah, I did. Can't release this, I think, with it in place. That's too bad. So I made a major error here. I'll try to force it out. But basically this needs to be removed with the plinth still in place. So the fascia plate's going to go back on in place. So I might redo this video at some point, but basically when you had the plinth off, that switch needs to come out of there. And I apologize for screwing up the order on this. But it's time to install your brand new fascia plate, and obviously this will be cleaned and the lens will be cleaned. But basically I usually pop the lens right into this apparatus here. It just makes it easier to get things lined up. Yours might be too loose to hold in place. This one is holding in place. It does jut out a tiny bit, so that's the normal. If it's not sitting, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch out on all sides, it's not sitting properly. And that goes on like so. And then we've got these 3 screws that hold it in place. Again, this is not being done properly because I did not remove that switch, but I just wanted to get to the end and show you installing the fascia plate and reinstalling the switches. I had not done a 3-switch model for a few weeks and just forgot about the cueing switch, the proper way to get that removed. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to give these all another half turn, make sure they're nice and tight. Okay, so your new fascia plate's on. Doesn't that look fantastic? Look at that. No more vestige of a switch over there. So we're going to put these two buttons back on. Again, these should be cleaned while you have them off. I usually use WD-40 on a paper towel and just give them a lot of love with that, and then I clean it with a household cleaner after that. So there's a hole in the center of these, and you're lining the screw up with that, not pushing too hard downward, just letting the screw do the twisting. Obviously, if you have three switches, choose the best of the two to use to reinstall. I do sell switch plates also, so if you got this fantastic looking fascia plate and your button tops look terrible, check my website or my eBay store, and I sell those as well. So I try to turn it enough that it kind of wants to stay in the rectangle slot, and you need to make sure that that's done properly, or you're going to have to go back and tighten it. So we're going back down into these two switches, and again, you have to turn it to a certain angle, a certain position, in order to be able to access those two screws to tighten them. So that's what we're doing right now. And you don't want to overly tighten these, but they definitely need to be tight. So that's one. And there's two. So in terms of reinstalling the top plate, I'm just going to briefly touch on this and then let you kind of use reverse configuration to get this all reinstalled. But basically, back to the L shape. This is the motor hole here, so that's going to go there. And then you've got these three cups, cream-colored cups, that house the springs, hold the springs, and allow adjustment of those. So those need to line up with the three springs. So you need to get down at table level. You get your eyes down to table level and accomplish that. Hopefully you can see this okay. So I'm getting down at eye level. I'm watching the AC cable. And I'm putting in the leftmost spring first, the one by the motor. And making sure that goes into the hole at the top of the spring. And now I'm looking under there and getting the one in the back. And the one in the front you kind of have to do by feel, or you're not going to get this. So you should see the three screws holding there. It should be kind of firm, and we'll just do one screw here and finish up, basically going back to these 5.5 millimeter lock nuts. Hand start it, and then use the Allen wrench to tighten them down. So go back, do these two, and then you'll be ready to start install your tone arm with your tone arm board. And again, I apologize for messing up the cueing. It's obviously not the way it's supposed to be. I'm gonna, after the camera's done, remove the plinth again, and that will just lift right out at that particular point. And that's installing the fascia plate. Hopefully you found this really helpful.